Music is a universal language. Or so musicians like to claim. With music, they'll say, you can communicate across cultural and linguistic boundaries in ways that you can't with ordinary languages like English or French. On one level, this statement is obviously true. You don't have to speak French to enjoy a piece of music written by the French composer Claude Debussy. But is music really a universal language? That depends on what you mean by universal and what you mean by language. Every human culture has music, just as each has language. So it's true that music is a universal feature of the human experience. At the same time, both music and language systems vary widely from culture to culture. Nevertheless, no matter how strange a foreign musical system may seem, studies show that people are pretty good at detecting the emotions conveyed in unfamiliar forms of music, that is, at least the two basic emotions of happiness and sadness. Specific features of music contribute to the expression of these emotions. For example, higher pitch, more variations in pitch and rhythm, and faster tempo convey happiness, while the opposite conveys sadness. Perhaps, then, we are born with a musical sense. But language also has melody, which linguists call prosody. Exactly these same features, pitch, rhythm, and tempo, are used to convey emotion in speech in a way that appears to be universal across languages. Listen in on a conversation in French or Japanese or some other language you don't speak. You won't understand the content, but you will understand the shifting emotional states of the speakers. She's upset, and he's getting defensive. Now she's really angry, and he's backing off. He pleads with her, but she isn't convinced. We understand this exchange in a foreign language because we know what it sounds like in our own language. Likewise, when we listen to a piece of music, either from our culture or from another, we recognize emotion on the basis of melodic features that mirror universal prosodic features. In this sense, music really is a universal system for communicating emotion. But is music a kind of language? Again, we have to define our terms. We, including scientists, often use language to mean communication system. Biologists talk about the language of bees, which is a way to tell fellow bees about the location of a new source of food. People talk about the language of flowers, through which they can express their intentions. Red roses mean, pink carnations mean, white lilies mean, and then there's body language. By this we mean the gestures, movements, and facial expressions we use to convey emotions, social status, and so on. Although we use body language when we speak, linguists don't consider it a true form of language. Instead, it's a communication system, just as are the so-called languages of bees and flowers. By definition, language is a communication system consisting of a set of meaningful symbols, words, and a set of rules, syntax, for combining those symbols into larger meaningful units, sentences. While many species have communication systems, none of these counts as language because they lack one or the other component. The alarm and food calls of many species consist of a set of meaningful symbols, but they don't combine those symbols productively according to rules. Likewise, birdsong and whalesong have rules for combining elements, but these elements aren't meaningful symbols. Only the song as a whole has meaning. Like language, music has syntax, rules for ordering elements, such as notes, chords, and intervals, into complex structures. Yet none of these elements has significance on its own. Rather, it's the larger structure, the melody, that conveys emotional meaning. And it does that by mirroring the prosody of speech. Since music and language share features in common, it's not surprising that many of the brain areas that process language also process music. But this doesn't mean that music is language. We tend to think that specific areas of the brain are tied exclusively to specific functions, but any complex behavior, whether language or music or driving a car, will recruit contributions from many different brain areas. Music certainly isn't a universal language in the sense that you could use it to express any thought to any person on the planet. But music does have the power to evoke basic feelings at the core of the shared human experience. It not only crosses cultures, but it also reaches deep into our evolutionary past. And in that sense, music truly is a universal language.